You're a very intelligent young man.
Thank you.
You have a good job.
Yes, sir.
You're a supervisor.
Yes, sir.
Next time, use a little common sense.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. The video parole is called to order. Today is July 19th, 2023. Time is 8:34 a.m. My name is Alvin Roche. To my right is Ms. Bonnie Jackson, and to my left is Mr. Pete Freeman. We are located at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with the staff at headquarters. Please introduce yourself.
And I will shoot on favor.
Our first remote location is Ascension Parish Jail. With the staff at Ascension, please introduce yourself.
Sergeant Whittington with Santa Parish Prison Transport.
Thank you, Sergeant. We're ready for our first case. With the offender, please introduce yourself.
My name is Kaz Gibson.
Mr. Taz Gibson. Good morning. You heard the introductions. We're here for a revocation hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I see that we have your attorney. Would your attorney please introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Lindsay Bluen. I am Mr. Gibson's attorney with the Manasseh Law Firm.
Thank you, Ms. Lewin. At any time during the hearing, if you'd like to supply information or advise your client, you may do so. Just let us know.
Thank you.
And would you reserve your remarks until the end of the hearing?
I would like to reserve until the end. Thank you.
Okay. But at any time you see fit to interject information, you may do so.
Thank you.
Mr. Gibson,
Yes, sir.
do you have a parole revocation questionnaire in front of you?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, is all that information correct?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature signed on May 25th, 2023?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's continue. Mr. Gibson, you're here for a revocation hearing because the parole board is conducting this hearing because you've been accused of violating the conditions of your parole supervision contract. I'm going to read the violations. You have an option to plead guilty, guilty with a statement, not guilty with a statement. Do you understand those options?
Yes, sir.
The first violation, condition number 4. You were arrested by the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office and placed in the Ascension Parish Jail on November 26, 2022 for the following charges: domestic abuse, aggravated assault, child endangerment, possession of a firearm by a person convicted of certain felonies, disturbing the peace, violent and tumultuous manner, disorderly conduct. On May 8th, 2023, In the 23rd JDC, you pleaded guilty to illegal carrying of a weapon. You were committed to parish prison for 6 months with credit for time served. How do you plead?
I had pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor, illegal carrying of a weapon charge.
So you plead not guilty to everything except carrying, illegal carrying of a weapon. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. The other charges had got dropped to the misdemeanor charge.
Okay. Condition number 5. In condition number 5 states that you should not possess or control a firearm or a illegal weapon. Do you understand what condition 5 says?
Yes, sir.
So condition 5 has the same verbiage as condition 4. Word by word, it is the same verbiage. How do you plead to having a firearm or an illegal weapon?
Not guilty.
So 1 second. You pled guilty to condition number 4 and not guilty to condition number 5. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we understand that the other charges were dropped.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you want to make a statement or do you want your attorney to address the board on the mitigating circumstances of your pleas?
I'm gonna let Ms. Bluen speak on it.
Ms. Bluen, would you like to give us an explanation on why your client pleaded guilty to having a weapon and criminal activity?
Absolutely. I represented Mr. Gibson on the instant charges in the 23rd JDC, as well as currently represent him now before this board. Mr. Gibson pled guilty to a single misdemeanor count, and that was a best interest plea. Mr. Gibson was not admitting that he had a weapon. However, in negotiations with the prosecutor, it was my advice as his attorney that to plead to that misdemeanor would be in his best interest, in that it was the only offer that the prosecutor was willing to make, and unfortunately was probably the best way to ensure that Mr. Gibson was able to return home to his family. So he did plead to that misdemeanor on counsel's advice, and did plead best interest to that misdemeanor. The other charges were dropped by the district attorney's office in large part due to the affidavits which were provided in this case, which we provided to the hearing officer during the preliminary hearing and should be a part of the hearing officer's packet of information. There were affidavits executed by Mr. Gibson's girlfriend, as well as her daughter, who were both witnesses to the instant offense, as well as Mr. Gibson's father. The vehicle in which ammunition was found, no weapon was ever found in this case, in which ammunition was found belongs to Mr. Gibson's father, and his father executed an affidavit alerting the prosecutor's office to that. Additionally, his girlfriend and her daughter also executed affidavits letting the prosecutor's office know that their initial statements to police were in fact not truthful. And as a result, the prosecutor's office did not pursue those charges related to the domestic offenses. And so in summary, Mr. Gibson did plead to that misdemeanor best interest on advice of counsel. And my advice to him was that this was likely the best way to potentially go home as soon as possible to his family.
Ms. Gruen. There were eyewitnesses at the apartment complex that saw him wave and possess a gun. And those were multiple witnesses. And I understand why a girlfriend or wife would do an affidavit. Because after the fact, if they think about it, they were in danger, but it's a loved one and they don't want to see that loved one go to jail. But that loved one pleaded guilty to possessing a firearm, which is a violation of condition number 4 and 5 of his parole supervision contract. I have a police report, an actual police report, having eyewitnesses that are not related other than being neighbors of the girlfriend or the offender, and they stated they actually saw the firearm. There was ammunition in the car, and basically an affidavit by his father said it was his ammunition. I think any father, any dad or a parent would do that for a child. There was criminal activity. There was possession of an illegal weapon. Both serious violations of his parole supervision. And he pled guilty. And as far as I'm concerned, and I'm presenting the case, and my colleagues may have a different view of it, but he's in violation of his supervision. A very serious violation. Any further questions?
Oh, sorry.
Ms. Clue, would you like to make a statement, or would you like your client to make a closing statement and you have the last one?
I believe Mr. Gibson requested that I make his closing statement for him. If, is that correct, Mr. Gibson? You'd like me to close?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
To the members of this board, I think if you question Kez for the next 8 hours, which I know is not your plan or intention, he would tell you that he would take full responsibility for being present at the apartment that night and for the argument that took place between him and his ex-girlfriend. As we've provided to the members of this board, Kez was compliant with every condition of his parole until this arrest occurred. He has a good job and he was an excellent employee. His construction manager, Mr. Johnson, has held his job open during the entirety of Mr. Gibson's incarceration during this period because of the fact that he is one of his best employees and also that Kez supervises other employees. He has that job at Mosaic to return to if your honors do not revoke his parole. He was compliant with every condition his parole officer set. I've spoken with her multiple times and she explained that Mr. Gibson and she never had any issue. He is somebody who she believed was doing everything that he needed to do on parole. And I do not say all that to take away from the seriousness of the allegations, but I do wish to express to this board that Mr. Gibson was compliant with every condition before, has a good job waiting for him still if this board does not revoke him. His parents are present with me today in this office in full support of him and have a plan for him for release if this board does not revoke, that would involve housing and would involve residency with them. So that way he does not return to any sort of domestic situation with this ex-girlfriend. I'm confident that if this board gives Mr. Gibson another chance, you will see that he continues to comply with parole as per his parole officer's explanation to me, works very hard for the Mosaic construction plant, and lives with his parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gruen. I'd like to,
Move for executive session.
I have a motion on the floor in the executive session to discuss confidential matters. Would you call the roll, please?
Deliberation,
Yes.
Bonnie Jackson.
Yes.
Steve Ray.
Yes. Also second.
And Mr. Gibson, we're
Yes, sir.
gonna take a minute or two to discuss confidential matters, and then we will return, okay?
Yes,
Thank
sir. Thank you.
The committee on parole is reconvened. Time is 8:54. Is the panel ready to vote? Mr. Gibbs,
Yes, sir.
there is no doubt in my mind that you were in possession of a firearm that day. And it is a clear violation of condition number 4, condition number 5 of your parole supervision. You're a very intelligent young man.
Thank you.
You have a good job.
Yes, sir.
You're a supervisor.
Yes, sir.
Next time, use a little common sense.
Yes, sir.
You knew you should not have in possession or control of any gun, knife, or anything that could be considered a dangerous weapon.
Yes, sir.
It does not only include firearms, it includes everything that's considered to be a dangerous weapon.
Yes, sir.
Based on your guilty plea to illegal carrying of a firearm, I'm going to revoke your supervision. Ms. Jackson?
All right, Mr. Gibson, while I believe that you were in possession of a firearm, I think it's mitigated by the fact that you had been in compliance with conditions of your supervision, you're working, supporting yourself. My vote today would be to do not revoke, to return to supervision add conditions that you enroll in and complete a 26-week domestic violence program, and that you have no contact with the victim until that class is complete.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Freeman?
Mr. Gibson,
Yes, sir.
I understand your attorney saying it was a best interest plea. All I can say is having a gun and pleading to a gun is never in the best interest of a parolee. That's the second worst violation you can have. The other one's domestic abuse battery. So my vote today is to revoke.
Oh,
Mr. Gibson, you have received 2 votes to revoke your supervision. 1 vote, do not revoke. Your supervision has been revoked. That concludes our business at Ascension Parish Jail. Time is 8:57. Thank you, Sergeant. Have a good day.